This is going to be our first television series that we will be producing in our advanced finance course, and this is a series that is called Intentions, a co-production with Amazon Studios. Let's take a look at our series Intentions to see if we can get a viable finance plan together, and if then once the series is produced we have something that actually can generate a profit for the producer and the investor. So first we have to look at the budget. We are producing 8 episodes. Each of them will be $1,320,000. The above the line budget for each episode is $570,000 and the below the line budget for each episode is $850,000. This is important because we're going to get subsidies that are supporting us in the above the line and the below the line portion of the budget. The valuation for the series is set to generate 65% of the budget from the international marketplace as an estimate. This is just a sales estimate. Now, after we actually produce the series and it's being sold in the marketplace, we find out that we were able to generate 85% of the budget from the international marketplace. This happens after the series is produced and done. When we're looking at pre-sales, we are looking at Amazon Studios, our co-production partner, giving us 40% of the budget. That is $4,544,000. Pro7 in Germany is giving us 10% of the budget, $1,136,000. While Amazon is not giving us any down payment at all, Pro7 is giving us 20% on signing as a down payment as the pre-sale agreement is signed, and 80% on delivery of the series to the network, which is Pro7. Canal Plus, a French network, is giving us 8% of the budget for the series, which is $908,000. They're paying on signing 10% of the budget and 90% when the series is delivered to Canal Plus. So we're taking these agreements to the bank, and the bank will give us 100% of the contract value for 12% per year. The cap for the gap portion of the senior loan is 10% of the budget. That is all the bank will give us. They will not give us more. And the interest for the gap is 15% per year, and the term of the loan is 2 years. All interest charges and all loan and legal fees, which are $150,000, are deducted upfront from the loan amount. The loan is recouped in first position in the waterfall after the collection agent and before any sales agency fees or other distribution fees are paid. The equity investor is Alliance Cinema, and they provide an equity with a 20% premium component, and they want 25% ownership and profit share in the series. Next, we have the incentive loan. 120DB, which is an incentive lender, gives us a loan for the anticipated incentives from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico will give us 20% on the above the line portion of the budget and 40% of the below the line portion of the budget. 120DB is going to charge us a loan fee of 15% of the incentive amount, as well as an executive producer fee and legal fee of $125,000 together, and everything is deducted up front. BMW is our sponsor, and they will sponsor us with 5% of the budget, of which they pay 50% on closing and 50% when the series is aired. And the ad agency that's helped us secure this deal is going to get 15% of the sponsorship amount up front. We're working with Cutting Edge on the music investment, and they are giving us $185,000 for the publishing rights. So let's take a look at the waterfall expenses. We're going to pay our collection agent 1% of the amounts deposited in the collection account. We're going to give the sales agent 25% of international sales, And we're going to give the US agency, the GERS agency, who arranged for the Amazon Studio deal, 10% of that deal. Cast and director each receive a 10% profit participation, and the co-producer who helps us manage the production of the series in Puerto Rico will receive a 5% profit participation. The balance is then paid to the producer, and the question I have for this case study is, how much does the producer make and how much does Alliance Cinema, the equity investor, make? First, let's take a look at our finance plan. So we know that each episode is 1,420,000. So when we're producing 8 episodes, the production cost will be 11,360,000 for season 1. And for our valuation, we believe that we can generate 65% of that, 65% of 11,360,000 from the international marketplace, which would be 7,384,000, and 40%, which we know is going to be given to us by Amazon Studio for the US rights. So let's go step by step through this finance plan. We received 40% of the budget from Amazon, our co-production partner, so that is $4,544,000. 10% of the budget from Germany's Pro7, that is $1,136,000. 8% of the budget comes from Canal Plus in France, that is $908,800. So altogether our pre-sales are $6,588,800. The down payment we receive from Amazon is 0. The down payment we receive from Germany is 20% of the license fee. That is 20% of $1,136,000. So that's $227,200. Canal Plus is giving us 10% of their $908,800, which is $90,880 as a down payment. So altogether, our down payment on these deals that we will be receiving, which is held by the sales agency, the international sales agent, that is, until we close all our financing, is $318,080. The balance due that we're receiving then when the film is delivered would be $6,270,720. So that's the total sales minus the down payment. The sales agency will deduct their fee on the down payment amount, and that fee is 25% of the down payment. 25% of $318,80 is $79,520. So what we're left with for the down payment amount that we will be receiving and that we can count on to cover our production cost is $238,560. So when we look at the senior loan and how this is structured, we look at the pre-sale amount, and they're giving us the full amount of the pre-sales, which was $6,588,800. Then the bank, of course, deducts our down payment because we received this already on these contracts. So $318,80 are deducted. That leaves the loan amount for the pre-sales gross at $6,270,720. And then the interest charges of 24% are going to be deducted here because that is 12% per year times 2 because it's a 2-year term. So that makes $1,504,973 as an interest charge against the gross pre-sale loan. And so what we're left with for the pre-sale loan portion would be $4,765,747. So that's what we're actually receiving from the bank for the pre-sales. The gap, as we mentioned, was kept at 10%. So while we have a lot of unsold rights and could theoretically be getting more money as gap, the gap lender says we're capping you at 10% of the budget, which sometimes happens. So they're only giving us 1,136,000, and they're charging us 15% per year on this. So we will be paying them an interest charge of 340,800 and their loan and legal fee of 150,000, which leaves us with 645,200 for the gap portion of the loan net. So altogether, the net loan amount that we can count on to cover the budget is 5,410,947. The amount we have to pay the bank back from the waterfall from distribution revenues is 7,406,720 because it includes all the loan fees and interest charges for the entire term. So let's take a look at our rest of the finance plan. We have the incentive from Puerto Rico, who gives us, and they give us 20% of the above the line and 40% on the below the line portion. So that is 20% of the above the line being 912,000, 40% of the below the line being 2,720,000. So altogether, the incentive would come to $3,632,000. Now the lender, being 120DB, charges us 15% of that, which is 544,800. And the legal fees and executive producer fees are also charged yet right now, which is 125,000. So altogether, if I deduct these fees, the incentive I have available to cover my budget is 2,962,200. BMW is giving us a sponsorship, as we mentioned, for 5%. That is 568,000. The agency will deduct their 15% of 85,200, which leaves us with 482,800. But we're only getting 50% right now on closing, so that 50% I can count on in my finance plan to cover a portion of my budget, and that is 241,400. And then the music investment company here is going to give us $185,000. Counting up all the finance sources that we have established for this Amazon production that we're doing in co-production with Amazon Studios, we have now secured $9,038,107, which leaves 20.44% open for the equity investor. So Alliance Cinema is giving $2,321,893. So we can cover our total budget for season 1, which is $11,360,000. So now we produced our show, it's being delivered, everyone is paying, and we're now generating distribution revenues that are being deposited in our collection account. We're delivering the show to Amazon Studios, our co-production partner, who will now pay us the license fee of $4,544,000. The international distribution revenues, which were estimated to be 65%, were actually higher now that the show is done and delivered and looks very good. And the fact that it's an Amazon Studio show also generates more revenues from the international marketplace. So we're actually ending up with 85% of revenues from the international market, and that is $9,656,000. So altogether, the worldwide distribution revenues come to $14,200,000. We already paid ProSieben and Canal Plus on the deals we made with them. We paid them $318,080, which are now being deducted here. That leaves us with $13,881,920. It's also now time for BMW to pay us the second installment of the sponsorship because the series is now aired. That is $241,400. Altogether, we're making $14,123,320 in revenues on the series. Here are our expenses. The collection agent will charge us 1% of the amount deposited in the collection account, and 1% of $14,123,320 is $141,223. The senior lender, our bank, will now get paid their bank loan back, and that is the gross bank loan that includes all the interest. So this is the senior loan, including the interest charges for the pre-sale loan and the gap loan for 2 years. So we're paying them $7,406,720. The international sales agent is only getting paid for international sales, and international sales were $9,656,000. Of that, the international sales agent will get 25%. 25% of $9,656,000 is $2,414,000. They already received $79,520 of that because we paid them when Canal Plus and Pro7 paid the down payment to us. So we deducted that at that time. So now we're deducting it here. So the sales agent is left with $2,334,480 that is due to them. The US agent, the Gertz agency, who arranged for the deal with Amazon Studios, is paid 10% of that deal. 10% of $4,544,000 is $454,400. The equity investor Alliance Cinema gave us $2,321,393 and is now also getting paid their premium on that, which is 20%, and that is $464,379. So altogether, our expenses total $13,123,104. And if we are taking these expenses and deducting them from the revenues, we will be left with $1,212,000 in net revenues. After we have paid everyone their expenses from the revenues that we have generated, it is time to issue profits. So the net revenues of $1,215,000 is now subject to profit participation payments to the talent pool. That includes the writer, no, not the writer, but the director and the cast. Sometimes it actually includes the writer, but not in this situation. So the talent pool gets 20% because they get each 10. So that totals 20% because the director got 10% and the cast got 10%. So that's 20 total. 20% of $1,215,000 is $200,043. The investor, being Alliance Cinema, requests 25% profit participation. That's a request they made. That is now due. 25% of $1,215,000 is $250,054. The co-producer in Puerto Rico who managed the physical production there and helped us with the incentive is getting a 5% profit share of $50,011, which totals $500 and $108, and the profits to the producer will be the same amount because profits paid out to talent, investor, and co-producers come to 50%, and so the producer is left with the other 50%. The payments to the investor are the following. The investment they gave us was $2,321,893, and that's being paid back to them. In addition, they got profits of $464,379. No, they got a premium of $464,379 and profits of $250,054. So altogether, Alliance Cinema made $714,433 on their investment of $2,321,893. So that reflects an ROI on this show of 31%. So I hope I went slow enough for you to follow these steps for the first TV series that we are producing here. And if anything is unclear or you have any questions, always feel free to email me through the Canvas inbox.